All right, guys. So for some of you know, I'm the executive director for Dacascos Tactical Systems. I'm also an instructor for Tricom. Tricom was specifically made to train SWAT and military. And the idea around it is that we want to take the martial art side to make it martial. So a lot of the programs that are trained, they think they're all martially, they're more art oriented. When we talk about martial, we're talking about military, we're talking about killing or not being killed, okay? The step down from that is police. Police have the responsibility to serve and protect. Within that, they have the right and the responsibility to not get killed and as needed be lethal, i.e. kill a criminal, okay? The step down from that is self-protection, which is the idea, the number one rule is to escape, right? It's not to kill or be killed, it's to escape. In that process, you may need to do lethal blows to get home safely, okay? The step down from that is competition. Even combat sports, there's rules, there are regulations. The aim is not to kill anyone. In fact, if you do, you get disqualified and then you lose your fight card, okay? So within the DTS and the Tricom system, what we're looking at is some of the art training that we do is making sure that it is martial, i.e. that it can be used in real life situations when your life is truly being threatened, okay? So it's moving away from the sparring, which is usually tagging hands. You've got helmets on, you've got gloves on, you've got pads on, so you injure less, right? The idea is that in a situation, such as a police officer, that if somebody is going to strike me, going for my weapons, this now becomes a life-threatening incident of an attack on a police officer, right? It also may be that at times the situation warrants that I need to do something that is considered less lethal, right? The situation doesn't warrant me pulling out a weapon that can kill somebody, but pulling out something that can subdue, control, detain, and then arrest, okay? So what we're gonna work on today is looking at more of a baton situation for you guys. We're gonna be using your collie sticks. Now, after class, I'm gonna have you guys an opportunity to wield a baton and hit one of our bobs, just so you get the inclination of the difference of power between a baton and a stick. It is fairly significant. This is steel versus wood. Wood has give to it. Steel typically doesn't have a lot of give to it. So in this scenario, what we want to do is look at the situations of how we're doing some of our art maneuvers, right? And this may be to close distance. Once we close distance, how do we manage the situation to subdue the person? Now, we're knowing this, particularly with the steel baton, is if I hit you in the head, that potentially can be a lethal blow. Right? So getting hit by something that, I'm gonna use Bob over here, right? If I hit you in the skull with something metal, that could be a game ender. Versus I hit you with a wooden baton, right? That's gonna suck, but it's not gonna go through and crack your skull plate open, okay? If it does, you probably shouldn't be in the game. Don't digress. Okay, so with a baton, the idea is that we're going to use our martial arts skills to close distance, right? Get control of the situation. Today we're not going to throw each other to the concrete. We'll do that next class. But the idea is how to use, again, some of the artiness of our training to more of a martial avenue or skill set. Okay? So let's see. I'm going to have Drew come over for a quick second. Okay. And unfortunately, Drew, he doesn't even get a stick in this confrontation. Right? So what we were just working on, right, is our ones and twos. So this is going, this could go to a hand. So if his hand's out, right, if I hit, imagine getting hit in the hand with this, right? That, for most people, is gonna stop the confrontation. If you get hit by this, your hand is gonna shatter into 8,000 pieces, and there's gonna be a whole lot of pain, and you're probably gonna wanna stop. Depending on the amount of intoxicants that are on the person that you're managing, they may or may not, right? So we're gonna enter in, right? We're closing distance with those ones and twos. The activity we just did is we come in and I'm crashing in, right? So here I'm getting control of the situation, right? Then after that, we're gonna insert right here and go to, some of you know this, a vice maneuver where we start to pinch, right? Now I can start to wrap him up, right? If I chose to, and I'm gonna go slow, I'm not gonna bring you all the way to the ground, but you switch, you pull him down, and it goes to the ground, okay? From that, you can get control. If you have handcuffs, you can cuff them, you can wait for your various partners, right? If you're in a self-protection situation, you may bring that person down to the ground, control them, and wait for aid and talk to them. This guy was trying to attack me, right? I need assistance, I need to help to do this peaceful, please call the cops, right? And now you're in a control position where this person, again, the authorities can come and manage the situation further, but you've now got into a very strong control situation of the incident, okay? So again, what we're looking at is not doing kind of the sparring stuff where I'm kind of darting in and darting out, right? That's how you stick spar. The idea is I'm closing distance here, getting control of the situation, finding ways to maneuver and manipulate, right? I'm getting really good control, right? And being able to manage him so that the situation, right? I've been able to decrease or de-escalate the situation to now I have control. Out here, I don't have control, right? I may be giving commands, stop, get down on the ground. He may not be complying. If he's not complying and he's moving in, that's where you start to move to striking, right? He's being aggressive. If I'm a police officer and somebody's moving towards me, if I'm saying stop and get to the ground, this is a high conflict situation where force is definitely warranted, okay? So we're gonna work on this for a little bit. We're gonna work on this first control method of going in, right? Here, I'm inserting in, right? Getting hold. First on the go to what I call a vice grip. This is a pinch, tap out when you're not excited about it, right? Then I'm gonna move from here to a lock position, okay? So we're gonna work on the closing the distance, moving to the vice grip, right? You guys are lucky that Drew is not so lucky, is that you're not gonna have a metal baton getting into pressure points and feeling fantastic. You're gonna have a rattan stick, which does offer some give, and then you're gonna go to here, all right? So that's what we're gonna work on. Again, the idea is working from something that is more arty to something that's more martially. So your martial art training can be actually effective in a self-defense, self-protection situation. All right, guys, make sure you like, make sure you sign up, hit that bell, and rock on.